Hey everyone, hey friends, it's Ginger with Journey with Ginger, and I'm making this video as a good little warm down or cool down after a tough workout in the gym. So I just came back from my gym, CrossFit Georgetown, and just had a lot of barbell work, did some heavy squatting, barbell complexes, so my legs are feeling a little bit fried, and I was like, I wanted to get on my mat and stretch out. And I thought that maybe some of you would be in the same position after some workouts. And I've got my little friend Gia here. So hang out with you. Oh, and I'm wearing my Vaughn. Gia, you have to move so they can see. Like I'm wearing my Vaughn weightlifting shirt. So shout out to Chad and Jody, my friends up at CrossFit Centex, for this shirt. I love wearing it, and because I was doing barbell work today, of course I had to wear my Vaughn weightlifting shirt. So if you want to work out, do a little stretch out, just take off your workout shoes, socks, or keep them on if you want, it's fine too, and roll out a mat, and let's stretch out our legs. So to start off with, we will just get into a squat, a deep squat. So feet kind of wide, just step into it and find your deep squat. I like to use my elbows on the inside of my knees to really press my knees out, opening up my hips. I like to rock back and forth and kind of really feel the bottom of that squat position. Really widening out my knees with my elbows, lifting my chest, and just holding this deep squat, kind of pivoting a little bit. Feels really good. And rolling into the outside of my feet, left and right. And then we're going to lift up into a forward fold. So we're just going to place our hands on our mat and raise our hips up. And from here, I'm going to heel toe my feet out, so I have a wide stance here. Nice flat back. Really feel that stretch in your glutes and hamstrings. Allowing your chest and face to fall towards the mat. Your hands can be on the mat, or you can come down to forearms. You can even use yoga blocks if you have them. Even ab mats if you're at a CrossFit gym. Ab mats to rest your elbows on if you can't quite reach the floor. Nice. So once you've stretched here for a number of breaths, you can press up and just place your left hand right in front of your face, and trying to keep your hips square, just open up to the sky. So this left hip's going to want to come up. See if you can't keep that square. And find that twist through your torso. Couple of breaths here. Inhale, reach, and exhale, come down and swap out your hands. So pressing into your right hand, and then on an inhale, open up to the sky. Inhale, reach, and exhale, come down. Nice. From here, pivot your right toes out a little bit so that you can lunge into this right knee. This left foot's flexed up. I'm also using my elbow to make sure that my knee doesn't come inward, doesn't collapse inward, keeping that tracking out towards over my toes. Couple of breaths, and then we'll swap. So planting left foot and then flexing up the right foot. Making sure your knees don't track too far over your toes. You want to keep those behind your toes, protect your knees. Having them just really, and then just do that a few times. Back and forth, holding for a couple of breaths. Swap. One more time. Last side. Woo! Almost went backwards. Great, come back to your forward fold. One more time, really stretch into those hamstrings and glutes. And then just heel toe your way all the way to stand. And then enjoy a forward fold here. So let your upper body be limp. You can always grab opposite elbows if you want a little more weight. Also the option, if you want, you can hug your calves and inhale here, and then as you exhale, draw your upper body towards your thighs and calves. It doesn't really matter how close you are. If you're right here, that's groovy. Everybody's different. Depends how tight you are. I can see I need a pedicure. All the things you see in the light of day. And we're going to come up to stand. So just loosen out your feet here, your knees, sorry. And then with a nice flat back, just come all the way up to stand. Nice, and shake it out. So from here on your mat or floor, wherever you are, just step back with your left foot just about halfway. So we're not doing a full kind of lunge distance here. Hips and shoulders are square, hands on your hips. Inhale, nice and tall, and as you exhale, you're going to pivot over this right leg. So maybe I exhale, I'm ready for another inhale, I pause, inhale, and then exhale even further. Maybe one more time, inhale, lengthen my spine, and exhale all the way towards that forward leg. Doesn't really matter if your nose touches your knee. We're stretching, right? We're not, there's no contest. We've already worked out. We've already lifted all the weight. So just really keeping this front leg straight. Maybe just a slight micro bend though, not locked out, but I'm feeling that stretch all the way through my hamstrings, my calves too, and into my glutes. And using your breath as a tool. So as I'm breathing, my inhale is just there's this opportunity to open, to lengthen, to create space. And my exhale, it's a chance to sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. Last exhale here. On an inhale, make sure your knee has a micro bend in it. Hands can come to the hips and come all the way back up. And we'll swap out our legs. So step up and step back with your right. A little 45-degree angle with the back foot. It can also be straight, but I prefer a little angle. Hips and shoulders are square, hands on the hips. Inhale tall, and exhale and start to pivot forward. Again, nice flat back here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, surrender. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale all the way down. Oh, nice sunshine coming out too. I love springtime. To really stretch effectively, you have to spend a little bit of time in the postures to really get the benefit. Stretching really shouldn't be fast. Last full cycle of breath, inhale and exhale here. And then micro bend that front knee and come all the way back up to stands. And step back up. Nice. If you go all the way down to the mat, plant both hands in front of your feet and step back. Find a good plank position. And then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. So you can pedal it out here. That should feel good, particularly if you've had a lot of box jumping or maybe some double unders, if your calves are sore. Really press into your full palm, all 10 fingertips. And externally rotate your shoulders and press your chest to your upper thighs. Doesn't matter if your heels touch the mat. Downward facing dog. Moving into a lizard pose. If you inhale your right heel to the sky, keeping your hips square, shift your weight forward and step to the outside of that right foot. So from here, you can stay up with your knee up if you want, but I also often like to just drop my knee down so I can really stretch my psoas and my hip flexor on the left side. Keeping your knee, so my knee is, I can stack it even more here, it's just as long as it's not going in front of your toes. So you can stay up on your hands. And just like the forward fold, if you want, you can come on down to your forearms and really sink into this pose, feeling the stretch all the way through your hips, the outside of your glutes, the piriformis. Once again, you really need to take a little bit of time in each pose to feel the stretch, so try not to rush this. Couple more breaths here. And if you were down on your forearms, come back up to your palms and heel toe the foot a little towards the center so your right hand can come on the outside of the right foot. And then you can draw your hips back, let the front foot flex, kind of a nice hamstring stretch here. So inhale, elongate your spine, exhale, fold over that front foot. So it's like that pyramid pose, a standing one, but now we're in doing it down here on our knees. This foot flex is really going to help your Achilles and calves. Keeping hips square, shoulders square. Nice. Last exhale. Inhale, shift forward once again. Heel toe your foot even further to the left of your mat. And then allow yourself to sink down into what's called half pigeon. So half pigeon, you want to have your hips square. Leg straight behind you, foot should be straight. This foot can be as far up to the parallel of the mat that your hips will allow. Anatomically, not very many people can be perfectly parallel. I can't. So let your heel be as close to your left hip, right heel close to your left hip as is comfortable for you. Really important though that if you're up like this and you can't sit down, put an ab mat, yoga block, a blanket, a pillow underneath this right hip, so that you can sink down and you're not making a lot of effort to stay in this position. So I really encourage you to use those props. It's not cheating at all. It's just helping you deepen the posture, which is going to benefit you. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Seeing a trend there, right? Exhale, and just walk yourself down, sinking all the way down to the mat. Lower your forehead to the mat and allow yourself really sink into this posture and surrender, feeling the deep hip opening in your right hip, right piriformis, into your IT band. Left side is really getting a lot of love into your hip flexors and psoas. So ideally you would hold this half pigeon for, at least a minute. We're probably, 30 seconds in, I'd say. So be patient and know that time and gravity are your friend on these stretches. Last inhale here. And full exhale. On your next inhale, just look up towards your hands and walk your hands towards your hips on either side of your knee. Lengthen your spine. Curl the back toe under and just press into your mat to release that front foot. Option to come all the way up into three-legged dog here and even open your hips and stretch. It feels amazing after holding pigeon for any length of time. Your shoulder square, and then let it come down and you can pedal it out. And we'll move on to the left side. Inhale, left heel up to the sky, moving to that lizard. So step it forward to the outside of your left foot. Once again, if you'd like to lower that right knee, it's your option to stay up again on your hands, or feel free to come down to your forearms. Anything that feels good. Maybe you start on your hands, and then as you loosen up after a number of breaths, you're able to sink down and onto your forearms. Listening to what your body needs. How tired are your legs? How stiff and tight are they? Depends. Also, the option for a couple of yoga blocks here. Bring the ground a little closer to your torso. There's no cheating. It's just doing what's right for you. It feels good. I like to wiggle and rotate just a little bit, kind of use that slight rocking motion to really loosen up anything, let my tendons and ligaments sort of stretch and recoil, and feels really good. Couple more breaths. If you're down on your forearms, press up onto your palms. Find that length in your spine. Heel toe your foot towards the center so that your left hand can be on the outside of that left foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, shift backwards. Let the front foot flex. And then exhale towards that straight front leg. These are called half monkey splits. Or if you're feeling fancy, you can say the Sanskrit term, which is Hanumanasana. I just like saying that, it's kind of fun. After your next full exhale, the very bottom of that exhale, inhale, look forward, shift your weight forward, heel toe your foot all the way to the right side of your mat, and settle down into half pigeon on the left side. So once again, using whatever props you need to get yourself comfortable with square hips, straight leg, so that you can surrender and sink down to the mat without having to roll this hip open. This right hip should be closed. Inhale, so using ab mats and stuff underneath that left hip or wherever's comfortable to get in that position. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, walk your hands out and lower your forehead to the mat. Couple more breaths here, making sure we get a good minute in or more. On your next comfortable inhale, you'll look up, walk your palms towards your hips once again, curl the back toe under. That gets you to release that front leg, let it come all the way up and open into an open-hipped three-legged dog. And then square your hips off again and drop your toes to the mat. Come down on your heels. I invite you to curl your toes under. No one likes this one, but it's really good for you. And walk back up so that you're sitting on your flexed feet here. This is really good for ankle mobility. For the bottom, just stretching your feet, ankles, Achilles. Helps you to deepen your squats too. If you've been doing a lot of double unders, you'll feel this. Just take a few breaths here. See if you can't quiet your mind. Just focus on your breath. One more rotation of breath, one more cycle. And then just come down to take a seat. Nice wide feet, as wide as comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall. So if you want to shift your torso towards the right, see if you can't go down and reach as far as that is comfortable. Again, we're not trying to hurt ourselves here. We're just finding some deep stretching. So inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale. And keep that breath as your tool. Use your breath. So always inhale, lengthen, exhale, surrender. Last cycle of breath here. And then instead of sitting up, take your hands in front of you like little spider hands and just slowly walk towards the left. When you get to center, hang out here for a second, take a couple of breaths, flex your feet, make sure your legs are still engaged here. After a couple of breaths, continue walking to the left, nice and slow, until you're going to find your stretch on the left side. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, stretch down towards your leg. If you're up here, that is so okay, seriously. Whatever feels good to you, however far you can go. We're not trying to hurt ourselves. There's not a competition. At the very bottom of your next exhale, look up once again. Take your spider hands and start to walk yourself back to center. Inhale long. Exhale. One last stretch here in the center. This is usually challenging. The adductors are often very tight. So wherever you are is just absolutely perfect. And then on an inhale, start to walk your hands back up. Now, before you move your legs, realize that they're probably going to not want to move fast. That's cool. Be slow. Use your hands to even help you. Bend one knee, bring one foot in. Maybe help yourself out so that the soles of your feet together. Little flutter kicks with your knees here. And then inhale nice and tall. And exhale and just draw your chest towards your feet. Couple of last breaths here. And finally, on your next inhale, go ahead and sit all the way back up. And that's it. So if your legs were tight and overworked or just worked perfectly, in your workouts, whether it's CrossFit or you're in the gym or wherever you work out. I hope this helps. Great, see you next time. Namaste.